The reason why and how we grow food has to change very quickly. Food can't be always perfect. Consumers have to make a change to accept food that isn't polished and looking perfect. Logically speaking, food, fruits and vegetables have to have stains and bruising. It's only common. These royal beetles left a mess on top of the cauliflower. Still perfectly edible and still perfectly delicious. We have to make a change towards our pickiness and our choices. Really speaking, our choices should be towards the ugly foods, the foods that are grown locally, the foods that are beaten up, the foods that don't look perfect. They probably are way better for you, no question about it. I want to talk about the reason why people grow food, or businesses grow food, or whatever it may be. Why do we grow food? It has changed now from feeding people to profitability. Profitability is key. And what I mean by that is you have to use every trick in the book to be profitable, to be visual, to be accepted in this market of growing food. So if your crops don't look superb, if they don't look polished, if they don't look good, if they have blemishes on them, if insects have nibbled at them, whatever it may be, it's tough to sell to this market now. Even though your food most likely is way better than that plastic polished, great looking product that you could buy in the supermarket. And by the way, tomatoes and peppers are, for me, and apples are the most obvious cases for this polished, beautiful looking fruit. And they last forever, by the way. Okay, so you're a small farmer or you're a big farmer and your objectives have changed. So if your objective is to create the most amount of food you can, the best looking food you can, the longest lasting food that you can, your parameters are going to change. You're going to farm very differently. You might leave soil out. You might not use soil. Maybe it's too dirty. Maybe it's too complicated to grow in soil to get these great looking products. You might use all kinds of incredible fertilizers. You might spray your product when it's done. You might coat it with wax. You might do whatever it may be. Most of the stuff that we buy is very different than what it was 30 years ago or 50 years ago. It's a very different product. So if you grow something beautiful and it lasts for a long time, you can ask for a premium for that, even though it might not be organic or it might not have any nutritional value. It still looks good and it will sell. If you sell something that doesn't look good, you might have to discount it. You might never sell it. So the consumers are pushing the farmers and the growers into a corner. They'll come into a supermarket and they'll pick through 39 apples to find one good one. And what is their criteria? God only knows. We don't know. It's the strangest criteria if you watch some of these people picking fruit in a supermarket. So unless consumers change, we are probably not going to get better food. I think if you actually looked at what we're eating, the food is very poor in basic nutrients that are required, and these special minerals that are supposed to be in the fruit when you grow something in soil. Like this stuff has minerals and micronutrients and all kinds of stuff in it that gets transferred from the soil to the plant. The moment you don't have soil, that can't happen anymore. It's going to be artificially induced. Profit is number one. Appearance is number two. Number three is longevity. And number 4, 5, 6 is still not feeding people. That's way at the back still. And providing nutritional food. That's way at the back. It's not on the radar. Now, let's say you're a banana producer in Ecuador. And a company comes and buys 16 containers of bananas from you. And they need you to pick it completely green, completely unripe, completely capable of traveling 2 months in a container. So you got to remember that there's, let's say, 2 months missing for the sun to ripen that banana. So they have to use chemicals to make that banana at least turn a little bit yellow for them to sell it. So our ancestors, they did it very differently. They didn't have access to oranges. They didn't have access to bananas. They didn't have access to mangoes. What they did is they canned everything and made do with what they had. So the shipping issue is a very big issue in agriculture. How do I get my fruit from a warm climate to a cold climate in the middle of January? And how do I get it so that it doesn't go bad on me? So these companies have sleepless nights, I'll tell you that. When their container is stuck somewhere in Panama or wherever it is, they will have a rough time, and they have to calculate that into their loss, that they're going to make a loss. What is the solution? The solution is an army of people that try their best to grow really good food, really pay attention to how they grow that food, keep the chemicals out of the equation, have a delivery system where you can deliver it very quick. Very tough to do all these things, but if you want really good food, you probably are going to have to grow it yourself. There's probably no way around it. And the human race probably will be, sterile very quickly. Everyone is going to be very sick. Artificial way of growing food where something doesn't taste like an orange, where something doesn't taste like a nectarine, is very alarming, and that trend will continue. It might be the only way that all the people in the world could be supplied with food, this highly industrial type of agriculture in greenhouses and these great growing operations, monoculture. All these things are probably the way right now to feed the people on this planet. But if there's enough micro organizations that pay attention to growing really good food, then things could change drastically.